machine has three main components. One is the sling. This is what we wrap around our client to attach to the hoist. That's the second component, is the hoist itself. And the third component is the power we need to power it. Usually the power will be resting in a power board like that behind, and it sits there. So before you collect the machine, make sure you have all three components, okay? The power usually sits just there. You can you see over here? That there is enough power. To conserve power, you can press that red button and it will conserve the power for you. At the end of your shift, please remember to take the battery off and recharge it for your co-worker at all times. So again, putting it in, checking. If it's no power there, make sure you check on the red button. Now there is power, everything is good. So the machine itself has different sections. Think of it as a human, okay? This is going to be doing the lifting for your client, lifting your client's full body. So part, the arms do the lifting. The second part is over here, the legs. The legs have to make sure that they can calibrate, all right? So there's a few things that I'll be talking about. There's a control with this one. In this one, the control only controls the arms. It goes up and it goes down. Up and down. The legs, as you can see over here, it can open. This one is manually done. We open it 1 and 2. Close 1 and 2. When do we open the legs? We open the legs when we want to go through something. So for example, if we want to go through this wheelchair, we will open it that way. Okay? So that's really the only time we open it. Or if the client is on the ground and you need to lift them from the ground. So you will open it to maneuver it into the client. It also has brakes, all right? So the brakes over here, make sure that you put the brakes on when you let go of the machine. Every time you let go of the machine, put the brakes on. When you hold on to the machine, take the brakes off, because the legs need to be able to calibrate. Okay, and the brakes, as you can see, the brakes, sometimes this is where it's a little bit important, okay? When you're putting the brakes on, make sure that it is both accessible. If it is not accessible, if the brakes, for example, is there, and you see it's behind, don't try to put the brake on, because you will have a hard time taking the brakes off that way, okay? So if it's like this, all you have to do is tilt to the left a little bit and the wheels will come out. And then put the brake on and put the brakes on. Does that make sense? So brakes off, maneuvering. Now, that is the machine itself. Now, this part, what is this part? I like to call this part the shoulder. Okay, I want you to try and remember to put this as close to your client's shoulder as possible. And also have it in the direction of the shoulder. So if you're picking up your client lying this way, have it that way. If the client is lying this way, have it that way. So the shoulder, the arms, and the legs. Clear? Now, the sling. This is the sling. The sling will be holding your client. This is the back of the sling. As you can see, there are handles for the sling. The handles you can grip to maneuver your client while they are up there. So the idea of this is that it hangs and wraps around them like so, okay? So we need firstly to get this underneath our client. First thing we've got to do. The second thing is attach to the machine. The third, prepare where we're going to transfer the client to, and then start the transfer. Does that make sense? All right, so let us go. Who wants to be my assistant? Just to explain about the bed. Can you come a little bit closer? So the bed, have a look everybody. So this is the bed control. A lot of people have, never seen it before, but basically they're all the same. There will always be an arrow that goes up or down, okay? So keep an eye out on that. And there's always going to be a darker section. The darker section is what moves when you are navigating. So for example, with this one, the top one, up or down, the darker section is the head part. So if you press that, the head part should move and lower the head part, okay? So in this situation, we always want to move the full bed going up or down. So part of the work health and safety is we want to make sure that the bed is around the hip area, okay? So the hip area, between the hip and the waist. If you are working with taller people, you work it between the two of you. But the idea is you don't want to be bending over with your back. So in this situation, we are going to raise the whole bed up for our client to be able for it to be on this level for us, okay? All right, how you going? Are you all right? Talking to your client, building that rapport and connection is always really important. So the first thing we talk about, you come over this way, is the sling. So the first step is that we want the sling underneath our client, okay? So we fold the sling in half, making sure that the label is on the outside, right? So preparation, we are preparing it over there. Now, working healthily, health safety for us, we want to make sure we keep our back straight, and we are going to use the pulling and lifting method, okay? And we will work together. There will be a time when I will be doing the pulling and you will be doing the lifting, and then we swap and vice versa. Now, in this situation, our client is tiny, okay? So we may not need all of this strength, but it's really important to do the correct procedure, because one day we may have a bigger client and we want to be able to do it properly so we protect our own back, okay? So the first thing, we get our client actively participating. Can you cross your arms for me? Great. Now you will be doing the pulling, and when you do the pulling, we will have one knee. So you will have your hand on one knee and the other on the elbow. Okay, so that means, hang on a second, wait for me. So that means that you keep your back straight. So do not reach over. If you reach over, that means you're doing it incorrectly. Okay, so perfect. Excellent. Elbow. Okay, because I will be doing, so we will be doing it together. Okay, so put your elbow over here. Cross your arm for me. Correct. Elbow. So then we will work together. Are we ready? And I'm on the hip and the shoulder. That is the torso. That is the heaviest part of our client's body. And so me doing the lifting while you do the pulling. Once you do the pulling, you hold on to the client. So as you pull, make sure you step forward. Do not pull back because your client can fall. Okay? So pull forward and hold on to your client while I grab this and put it underneath. Does that make sense? All right, we're going to work together. 1, 2, 3. Great. Perfect. Great. So then I will grab this and I will put it behind the client. Now I want to make sure that it's up to her shoulder. This one is just at the end of the tailbone. I'll put 1/2 of this and fold it because I want 1/2 to go to the other side, but I want the other half to stay here, okay? So we will do that. And we just remind our client that you're gonna feel something on your back there. Now we do the other side. So we get it to the other side. So this time I am doing the knee and the elbow, and we are gonna work together. 1, 2, 3, go. And I will hang on to my client and you will release them. I will say, are you okay? Oh, good. So then we check. Now we've got the first thing underneath. Woohoo! The second part, now we want to wrap up our client. All right, so we put 2 knees up and we are going to put this through between the legs. So go and grab the other one. Yep, that's it. And we are going to cross it over for privacy and dignity. We also want to make sure that we're not pulling on her skin of any kind, okay? So now we have her wrapped up like a burrito. Now, I will go and get the machine. Actually, can you go over to the other side for me? Okay, so at this point, I have the machine. I will be putting the machine in, and I want it to be as close to the elbow, to the shoulder as possible, okay? Now that I'm over there, I'm gonna lower it a little bit so we could reach the point where we want. So about there. Now I'm going to let go because I want to attach the thing. So I'll put the brakes on if I'm going to let go of the machine. Brakes on. The brakes are now on. Now we come around, and the top section, because we are going to move our client into a seated position, we want this as far forward as we can. So if we have it on the black, she would be more lying down. If we pull it as close to the white, her back would be more this way. So it will help us to try and navigate it and put it on the white or the orange if possible, okay? It's still a little bit high, so I might just lower it a little bit so I can reach that white if possible. So here, pressing the rubber, putting that through, and you can do the same with the other one. Great! You see? And now we are going to do with this one. This one I'm not going to do white, or otherwise she's going to be squashed like this. We might loosen it up to orange. So you can do yours. Press that in. Great. And then I'll do mine. So she is now secure. Good stuff. So there's going to be 2 things that we're going to do. You are going to lower the bed. As you lower the bed, you use one hand to lower the bed and assist your client's head, because as we lift, her head is still falling down until she gets to the seated position. Once she's in a seated position, she'll be able to support her own head, and so you can let go. But before that, it's important to make sure that her head is supported. The other thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that the chair is prepared to wherever we are going to take our client. So in this situation, if we're going to take our client onto the wheelchair, we want to make sure that it is ready for us, okay? So I can put the brakes on in this situation and have it there. Also want to make sure that there's enough room for me to do the bed. Okay, so you go over there and control the bed. Lower the bed for me. And I will take the brakes off. That's it. Keep lowering. Excellent. And while you're lowering, I'll keep lifting up. Keep lowering until we can't lower anymore, okay? And see how the machine calibrated? So it's important to do that. So we are just lifting her high enough to clear the bed, okay? We don't want her too high. Is that finished?
Yeah, finished.
Okay, now you can let go of the bed control. Great. Now your client is still on the safe zone. She's under the bed, so you can walk around this way. So the risk is still quite low. You're gonna grab onto her leg as I pull out, okay? That's it, great. Now you can lower her leg and turn her around with the handle. Use the handles from the sling, the back of the sling. Perfect, great. Excellent, so turn her around. Excellent, that's it, fantastic. So now I am going to get as close to the wheelchair as I can, and I'm going to warn my co-worker that I'm going to open the legs, so be careful of your foot, okay? So opening and pushing. So now you stand behind the wheelchair, excellent. So now I'm going to lower. There's two main jobs. Your job is to make sure that she lands safely on the chair. My job is to keep her head looking up so the arm does not fall onto her head. As I do that, I will slowly, just a little bit, about that much, pull back so the arm does not squash her head from the side, okay? So I will be asking Shirley, can you look up for me? And Annie, you will navigate, hold on to that, yep, and navigate her way down. Keep looking up for me, and as I lower, I make sure that I'm pulling away, and I'm also looking at the attachments. Can you see that it's all loose? So once this is all loose, that means that she's landed safely and that I can detach from it now. So before I let go, put the brakes on. When you put the brakes on, it's very important for you to put your hand right there, okay? Because sometimes when people are trying to put the brakes, they may push it forward to our client. So very important, keep an eye out on that. Putting the brakes there, we're working together. It's now secure, and we detach our client. To the side, when we pull it and we move, we make sure that we close the legs, and we always put this away against the wall safely, okay? Putting it against the wall, and then here, when we take off our clients, we lift the leg up, take this around like so, get our client to lean forward a little bit, just lean forward for me, and then you just pull it up.